Brittanee Drexel was a 17-year-old high school student with a bright future ahead of her. She was a star soccer player, with a passion for the sport that was matched only by her kind and caring nature. She lived in a small town in upstate New York with her loving family, who were proud of her achievements and admired her strength of character. One spring day in 2009, Brittanee decided to take a trip to Myrtle Beach with some friends. She was looking forward to some much-needed relaxation and a change of scenery. Little did she know that this trip would change the course of her life forever. On the night of April 25th, Brittanee disappeared without a trace. Despite the best efforts of her friends and family, as well as the local authorities, her whereabouts remained a mystery for years to come. Hello and welcome to Dark Secrets, your channel dedicated to exploring some of the most fascinating and haunting crimes in American history. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss out. Brittanee Drexel's disappearance on the night of April 25, 2009, was a mystery that would captivate the town and leave everyone searching for answers. The 17-year-old high school student had been on a trip to Myrtle Beach with friends, but when they returned to their hotel room after a night out, Brittanee was nowhere to be found. Her friends immediately reported her disappearance to the police, but despite a massive search effort, there were no clues or signs of where she could have gone. Days turned into weeks, and weeks turned into months, with no word or trace of Brittanee. The town was in mourning, and everyone who knew her was left with a heavy heart. Her parents, brother, and sister were torn apart by her loss and were determined to find her, no matter how long it took. A massive search effort was launched, and the local authorities and volunteers from the community combed the area, searching for any sign of Brittanee. On the morning after Brittanee Drexel's disappearance, the Myrtle Beach police sprang into action. They quickly located the security footage from the Blue Water Resort and found the friends that she had visited. The last person to have seen Drexel before she vanished was identified as Peter Brozovitz, a 20-year-old nightclub promoter who was also on vacation in Myrtle Beach. The two had apparently met at a local nightclub the night before. After police interviewed Brozovitz and the men with whom he was sharing his hotel room, they stated that no one has been ruled in or out, and they did not have any persons of interest as yet. The police searched Drexel's hotel room and found all of her clothes, but her purse and cell phone were missing. The cell phone's network pings were traced to an area 50 to 60 miles south of Myrtle Beach, along U.S. Route 17 near the Georgetown-Charleston County line, but the pings suddenly stopped early on the morning of April 26th. The police searched the surrounding areas for 11 days, hoping to find some clues or evidence that could help them solve the case. In 2011, they even searched an apartment in Georgetown County, but to no avail. Throughout the years, Drexel's mother, Dawn, and Brozovitz had several confrontations on the television show, Dr. Phil, with Brozovitz often expressing frustration at the damage to his reputation. Dawn, who had driven to Myrtle Beach the day after her daughter's disappearance, eventually relocated there permanently to keep a closer eye on the investigation. In June 2016, the FBI held a press conference where they announced their belief that Brittanee Drexel had been murdered shortly after her disappearance. The Bureau offered a $25,000 reward for information that would lead to the resolution of the case.
The FBI is now offering a reward to help find Brittanee.
I've been authorized by the director of the FBI to offer a $25,000 reward, leading to the arrest and the conviction of those responsible.
The investigation took a major turn 2 months later when new developments were reported from a bond hearing for Timothy Deshaun Taylor, an inmate serving time in state prison on an unrelated charge. FBI agent Jarek Munoz testified that Taquan Brown, another South Carolina inmate serving a 25-year sentence for manslaughter, had informed them of a disturbing scenario. Brown claimed that in 2009, shortly after Drexel disappeared, he had visited a stash house in McClellanville where he saw Taylor sexually abusing Drexel with others present. He then heard 2 gunshots and saw a wrapped body being removed from the house and dumped in one of many alligator ponds in the area. Brown's statement was partially corroborated by another inmate who was in the Georgetown County Jail at the time. This second informant claimed that Taylor had taken Drexel to McClellanville where he tried to sell her for trafficking purposes. But as the case gained media attention, Taylor reportedly decided to kill Drexel to avoid arrest. In the spring of 2022, Georgetown County was rocked by a shocking revelation in the long cold case of the disappearance of young Brittanee Drexel. On May 4th, a man named Raymond Moody, a known sex offender, walked into the sheriff's office and confessed to the crime. The police had considered him a person of interest for years, and with his confession, they finally had their break in the case. Moody provided information on the location of potential remains, and after a thorough search by the FBI, human remains were found buried in the woods outside Georgetown. DNA and dental records confirmed the identity of the remains as Drexel. The young woman had been strangled and buried by the morning of April 26, 2009. The news of Drexel's remains being found and her killer being identified was made public by the Georgetown County Sheriff's Office and Drexel's family on May 16th, and the following day, Raymond Moody was arrested and charged with murder, kidnapping, and first-degree criminal sexual misconduct. On October 19th, Moody pleaded guilty to all the charges against him and was sentenced to life in prison with an additional 2 consecutive terms of 30 years.
I don't have the words to express how horrible I feel, and I've felt ever since that day very, very sorry.
Brittanee's mother, Dawn Plecken, blasted him.
I hope you suffer in prison for the rest of your useless life.
Brittanee's tearful father, Chad Drexel, also spoke.
The defendant was and is, and I'm sorry, a perverted, sick monster.
62-year-old Raymond Moody was sentenced to life in prison.
The long search for justice for Brittanee Drexel was finally over, but the pain of her loss still lingered for her family and friends. Thank you for watching this video. We would like to read your own speculations in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe.